Yo, what up guys, it's Flark, and welcome to the next video in my Know Your Comp series. If you just got here, this is going to be every S tier comp, so the best comps that you can play with DK, fleshed out and explained in as much detail as I can possibly do it. So that means strats, playstyle, talent changes, conduit changes, legendary changes, target calling, everything that you could think of that makes a comp good or how you play the comp is going to be described in these videos. And in addition to that, I'm also going to be doing it specifically for Frost or Unholy, even if they're playing the same comp. So like TSG Frost, that's Warrior DK Frost, and Warrior DK Unholy will be different videos, because I really think you should be able to get just the information for what you're going to be playing on each video. They're going to be very specific. As a result, there's going to be a lot of videos that I have to make, but I'm sticking to a weekly upload schedule, and that should eventually get the complete collection of videos out. And of course, there will be a playlist made with every single video if you want to just scan through and see if anything suits your fancy. But we should get right into it because we've got a lot to talk about, and I don't need to blab too much longer. These videos are long enough as it is. So I just got to 3100. Was not playing this comp, but I was playing Warrior DK at around 28, 29, even almost 3k MMR earlier. So accounting for inflation, it could be near here. Of course, this CR was acquired by Boomy DK, which is my first video in this series. So you could go check that out. But of course, TSG, I did play at a very high level, and I think I know a little bit about it. There's a lot of variables that you can go through, and we're going to talk about that right now. This is Frost DK version, Frost DK Warrior HBAL, or a variable healer. We'll talk about that in a bit. But let's jump right into the DK side of things. So, biggest things for looking at talents for the DK side of things, in all of these videos, you're going to see there's a talent line right here that people have questions about. And then there's your PvP talents, the variable third PvP talent, because these are pretty set in stone. Everything else is always going to be about the same. You can look at this and study it and stare at it, and that's going to be about the same. But what about blind versus asphyx, and what about this third PvP talent slot? For Warrior DK, blind is still just so good with your own stun that comes from absolute zero here that you're probably still going to run it in all situations, especially if you're running with a Kyrian warrior. Spoilers. If you're running with a Kyrian warrior, I would really recommend blind, because setting up those AoE goes becomes so much more important, and giving blind down and letting him drop the spear on the blind will allow you to have one extra setup global, or maybe even 1.5. That helps you set up that AoE go, and they're not going to get out, and then they're going to be locked in the Kyrian spear, and they're going to take an enormous amount of damage. That's your go. We'll talk about it in a bit. If you're running Venthyr, try Asphyxiate. I don't think it's that important, but if you're having struggles against spell cleaves or RMP, you don't feel like you have enough peels, you want that 45-second cooldown instead of a minute, try Asphyxiate. But probably in all situations, blind is still going to be better, no matter what warrior you're playing with. That said, for the third PvP talent, Necro Aura we talked about in Boomy DK, that was very key. But with warrior damage, even with Venthyr, he's still got, that's like 30%, maybe 25% of his damage. He's still got 75% of his damage that's physical. I'm not sure Necrotic Aura is all that important, which allows you to play a utility PvP talent, which means Big Dome, which now, instead of just using it against Mage Combust, you can use it against pretty much anything. You can use it against Shadow Priest Warrior, Shadow Priest DK. You can use it against Rets to stop their ridiculous Wings Burst. You could use it against other spell cleaves. You could use it against any Lock Warrior, Lock Melee, right? Because generally you'd use it against spell cleaves, but Lock Warrior, not really a spell cleave. You could still take this to have that utility against all the Lock's damage. Taking out half the team's damage is still really valuable. And of course, it does work on the Venthyr from Warrior, the Condemn. So that's one of the PvP talents you can choose. Delirium works extraordinarily well against mages, monks, DHs like it used to. The only reason I haven't talked about this much yet is because we only have 3 PvP talents instead of 4 when we had Conflict and Strife. So finding a way to slot Delirium in is really tough. You can actually play a setup like this, and I know I said you probably wouldn't take out Chill Streak, but because TSG has so much just upfront damage, you've got Mortal Strike, Sharpen, you've got just warrior damage, they're legendaries, they're pressure, you've got utility, you can people with your damage. If you have Heartstop Delirium Zone, and you're not looking for Chill Streak goes, you just play really single target heavy during Pillar, right? and you're just doing as much single target pressure as you can with the Warrior, Sharpened Blade, Mortal Strike, ooming the healers, and now you've got Zone for Combust, and you've got Heartstop Delirium for Blink. So that mage is never getting away from you, and you can oom his healer, right? These are the types of decisions you can make. I'm going to give you these, but unfortunately, like my videos generally say, there's never an answer. Everybody plays so differently. Your partners play differently than mine. You play differently than me. I play differently than Keter. I play differently than Mez. All of these people play differently with different partners. Even when they play the same comp, those are different players. And all of these things have value. Just for the same reason I said this would be valuable, this setup would also be valuable, because if you can get a really, really good chill streak go on Mage and Rogue, they're kind of squishy, and if they don't have answers and you keep them low, you can swap to Rogue, you can swap back to Mage. You're putting them in a lot of trouble when they're getting cleaved like that. So there's not an answer, but I'm going to give you all of the choices, and then you're going to find your answer through experimentation and play. You're going to play these things, and you're going to know why they're good now, and then you're going to apply whichever one works the best in your gameplay to you. So, Zone is a very good answer. Delirium for Mage, Monk, DH. Shadow Priest even, because it stops Fade for whatever reason. You can run Necrotic Aura if you want more upfront damage on your end, and you're playing with a Venthyr Warrior. You'll get a lot of extra pressure during Pillar windows, because he will get that magic damage buff to his Covenant ability, and you'll get all of your extra damage to Obliterates. You can also run Transfusion if you're having trouble living. A lot of people have mentioned the apparent squishiness of DK. I think we're in a pretty good state, but I understand how Burst is extremely high. So Transfusion is a great answer for that, because when Burst is extremely high, Deathstrike is actually valuable. Because if you still get bursted in a window, Deathstrike still gets all the benefit from taking a lot of damage. So Transfusion on demand would give you a lot of potential there. These are some of the utility choices. Effectively, the answer to this third PvP town slot is Necrotic Aura is not required, like it really felt like it was in DK Boomy. And you can mess around with your utility talents that I talk about ad nauseum in my Frost DK guide. Check that out. It's on my channel. It's probably my most viewed video. And that's our little talk about PvP talents. Now, we've talked about these things so many times. Maybe it's a little uninteresting at this point, but I got an interesting one for you. Soulbinds. This is going to be good stuff, right? I think Emily is actually extraordinarily powerful. I did not actually talk much about it in my Frost DK video, so let's talk about it right now in this video, because I think it's extraordinarily powerful in melee cleaves. It's great in RBGs. I wish I could make an edit on my YouTube video and insert me saying, oh, by the way, use Emily in RBGs, but this video is not for RBGs. Maybe I'll make one like that in the future. But it's also great for melee cleaves. This lead by example gives you 7% for you during your burst window, and then an extra 2% to the warrior. That's not that much, but again, all damage matters when pressure is this high. It's really good to have that upfront damage, and any increase to that is great. Also, it's 20 seconds, which is a very, very long time to have 7% more strength. And if you get your HPAL in it, or variable third healer, we'll talk about it, that could be 9%. 9% damage for you is going to be awesome during your burst windows. And setting up a great Kyrian Spear go, or just a good Sharpened Blade go, is just going to feel fantastic. So, Emily, probably good with melee cleaves, and let's take a look at the path that I use. We go right down here for the Potency Conduit. You don't really care about Magnificent Skin or Emily's Ambulatory Flesh or whatever. You don't care about these. You just want that Potency Conduit. I slot in an Accelerated Cold. This is a no-brainer. You're always going to run this. Chilled Resistance is great. Just helps you get out of stuns quicker, and IBF is good to have. But really, the stun break is what you love about having this conduit in. That doesn't matter. Lichborn is the other, is the endurance of choice that I use, because I think I like having another wall. Just anything that can keep damage off me, especially while I'm trying to kite and heal myself with Lichborn heals. Taking a little bit less damage might let me stabilize. And then I like going this path. This is actually not bad at all. I like it better than the Fear, and just having another Potency is extremely good. We don't really want to finesse. I have Fleeting Wind slotted in there, so I can switch to it if I really think the 4.5 second Fear on against a melee cleave would be super valuable, and I've been dying. But Everfrost really feels good for sustained damage. comps, which Warrior is, right? Warrior constantly brings damage, it constantly brings Immortal Strike, and thus you want to constantly do damage as well. Every 20 seconds, you get a little bit more pressure. Works extremely well with Gathering Storm. Remember, I still use Gathering Storm and Razor Ice. I think that's the best for me. I've tried the other setup, it's pretty clunky, so I'm not going to talk at all about it, actually, because I just don't enjoy playing it, and these guides are what I'm showing you that worked for me at this rating. So that's what I'm going to give you. But Gristled Toes, actually not too terrible. Having 6%-ish passive movement speed on top of the speed you get from your cloak and the Death's Advance, really not bad. Because if you're moving faster and your slow protection makes it so your faster movement speed makes you faster slow protection as well. It's just all around good stuff. So this is my M&E setup, and I think it's very good for melee cleaves. And there's some new information we haven't talked about a million times over. So that's the changes, or potential changes, that I would make toward your standard setup for Warrior DK. I will never swap off of this legendary as long as I live, but I'll probably mention that in every video from here on out. Frostworm's Fury, best legendary for this comp, and probably every single comp for Frost DK, so keep that on. Otherwise, no stat changes. I'm not going to talk too much about it. You really want a lot of Verse and Mastery, and the only reason I don't have as much Haste as I want, even though I think Mastery and Haste are very similar, I still want more Haste, is because I got this stupid crit Verse ring with a socket from the vault, and I don't feel like switching to a non-socketed one, so there you go. That's why. So that's the DK side of things. The Warrior side, we did a lot of spoilers, but I think you could run Venthyr or Kyrian. And apparently you can even run Night Fae, as Bajir has been running it. Has a lot of upfront damage and then like a stun that procs. I don't know much about it, but apparently that's a thing as well. I'll talk about Venthyr and Kyrian because I know more about that. Kyrian and Venthyr have totally separate playstyles and are both good for different reasons. Venthyr, as we've been saying, Venthyr Warriors are the do lots of single target damage. Maybe you don't have to care as much about Chill Streak anymore. Constantly apply pressure to the enemy team until they are or they've run out of cooldowns. Your AoE goes are not quite as important, though you still want to do them because he has Sweeping Strikes Execute, Sweeping Strikes Mortal Strikes, Sweeping Strikes Sharpen. So you'll still grip, blind, AoE stun, and Chill Streak if you're running it. If you're not running it, you just cleave with him with Everfrost and Gathering Storm, and then you just pump a lot of damage during pillar. Every pillar you call out, hey, I'm pumping here, he Stormbolts the healer, you grip blind out of that, and you just do a lot of single target damage until they have no cooldowns at all. That's the general playstyle. The general win condition is the fact that they cannot heal through your damage you stick to a target, and they cannot deal with it eventually. They're either going to or they're going to not be able to rotate into your cooldowns. Kyrian is more traditional. Frost DK setups, right? Kyrian has the spear that it drops down and it provides a large chunk of AoE damage and a tether, which can be really good, not for keeping your chill streak going, but for after the chill streak gets a couple bounces into your stun and you've done a ton of damage to them, they need to get away from you. Doesn't matter if chill streak's still bouncing, you're still killing them with two cleave heavy classes. So the Kyrian spear will tether them in once or twice. It'll also tether them in if they trinket, which is really good. You're like, well, the Kyrian spear is going to drop like a second after the AoE stun does, so what's the point? The point is nobody wants to sit a full AoE stun against TSG, right? That seems like a bad idea. That's a good way to die. That's a good way to die in this meta. You don't really want to sit it, so what do? They trinket. But the spear's down, and it's crushing them, and they trinket, and they pull out, and they go right back in. They go out, right back in, right? So it's a trinket handler. You're getting pressure in all your AoE goes, no matter what. If you set it up properly, even if they both trinket, maybe they get out far enough for the chill streak to stop bouncing, but it doesn't matter. Kyrian pulls them in, A-Bomb Limbs pulls them in, they Kyrian twice, then they go out, right? So they actually have positive synergy, even though A-Bomb and Kyrian do very similar things. They move out of the Kyrian spear, they get pulled back in, then they move back out again, and they get A-Bombs back in, because your A-Bomb has an internal cooldown, so your A-Bomb would only be able to pull one person in back once. So it's going to keep this AoE cluster in a big pile, and then the A-Bomb limb is going to grab them one more time after that, and it's just going to really drain their cooldowns, even if they trinket. So that's the really good thing. So what did we learn? Kyrian Warrior, grip, blind, AoE stun, spear on top of it. All your AoE damage, chill streak out. Both of you guys, Blade Storm, Sweeping Strikes, Sharpened Blade, everything they got. They both trinket, they're still in trouble. A-Bomb's limb is down, pulling him in after the Kyrian Spear, and you've just got this huge cleave go. But I got one more very interesting thing for you that everybody's probably asking. Well, Flark, this ability right here, that's a 1 minute 30. Kyrian is a 1 minute. Blind is a 1 minute. Chill Streak is 45 seconds. Pillar is a 1 minute. I shouldn't hold it, right? Or should I? Because AoE stun is so good. I think that you should not. It's very situational, though. So if they're lining and they're stalling your go and Kyrian Spear comes back up and then it's been up for 10 seconds and you could be like, well, we could wait on the next go. That's fine. They don't have Trinket. We can win in this one. Do that. But if you are applying pressure and they're still low and they're running out of cooldowns and you have Grip, Blind, Chill Streak, Pillar and he has Kyrian Spear, but you don't have AoE stun, just do it. Grip, blind, chill streak. It breaks the blind, but he drops the spear down. You get a couple bounces of chill streak during the blind breaking, and then you get one more maybe as they're walking out because they're 70% slowed, and then the spear drags them back in again anyway, and you're cleaving them to death. Even though you don't have a stun, like I said, even when they trinket stun, it's still that valuable. Then if somehow they don't die and you made the wrong call, they didn't have trinket, right? So now you can just grip AoE stun by itself and he can just Blade Storm on it. You have so many different ways to get pressure. Waiting for exactly everything to be up is probably not the answer. Remember, you're trying to run them out of cooldown, snowball the pressure, snowball the sustained damage. So constantly be using your stuff and be thinking about why you would need to do it now or if you should wait for 10 seconds. Use situational awareness of the decision to make your decisions, right? If it's up in 10 seconds and he's like, you should grip, and I'm like, no, just wait 10 seconds, they don't have trinket, we win here, that's good. But if it's up in 30 seconds and they're just about to die, they're like 40%, they can't keep up, and you're like, just go, grip, blind, Kyrian Spear, and you get a lot of pressure out, and maybe they die to it, even with AoE stun not up. That's situational awareness. It's going to be a theme for all of my videos until the day I stop making these, hopefully never or whatever. But very important that you never speak in absolutes. There is not an always. If your question is, Flark, do I always wait for AoE stun? My answer is to slap you in the face across the internet and say, shut up, kid. That's not how the game works. You make decisions based on the pace of the game. But that's enough talking. Here's what we really want to get to. Gameplay. So I did play this comp, like I said, and I streamed pretty much every game that I played. And I found an RMP, because I know that RMP has a little mixture of casters. It has a mixture of needing to peel. It has goes. It has ooming. It's good matchup that highlights what TSG will do, and how you have to play to stay alive, and how you have to play to apply pressure, and all that good stuff. So let's do what we did last time and kind of go through the game and pause, talk, play, pause, talk, play until we get everything that we can, and hopefully we see not everything's going to go perfect, but some things will, and we'll do a game or two and try and talk TSG while we do it. So obviously, first thing I want, I did get some comments that I paused too much. I'm sorry to the people who say that. I'm probably going to pause a lot still, because there's so many things to talk about, and I talk for a good amount of time. So if I talk for 30 seconds, half the game is going to be over by the time I'm finished. So right here, obviously we're looking for combat. It's very difficult to get it. If you can Howling Blast anything that's out of stealth, do so. Otherwise, you're going to get sapped, and you have to be sitting here waiting for Trinket Zone, right? You Trinket Zone the H-Pal, maybe yourself, maybe the Warrior, but it's probably going to be this guy. Oh, real quick segue. H-Pal is the best healer for this comp as I play with it. You can also play it with our Shaman and Disc Priest. Disc Priest brings a lot of offensive pressure with Purge, Dark Arc, and Mind Games. Our Shaman brings a little mixture of both. They have Purge, but they're not quite as cooldown powerful as HPAL, but they do have a lot of throughput. And then HPAL is just HPAL. It's extremely good right now. Its single target burst heals are absurd. It's still really good in the mana race. It has bops, it has freedoms, it has bubble, it has sack. It has a lot of cooldowns to handle the pace of the meta. That's why it's so good right now. Our Shaman and Disc are probably more traditionally in line with what TSG wants to do right now, but HPAL just does way better into the meta. So HPAL, Disc, our Shaman. Mr. Weaver and our Druid are kind of memey right now. Those are my thoughts on that. Okay, we go. So I'm looking for the Trinket Zone, but they don't come out yet. And they don't come out at all. So it looks like they didn't get a very good opener, and Lasman gets... and so there's Lichborn Zone right here, if I can get it off in time. You see, this is great. This is going to be a great understanding of the current pace of the game. So you can see I Lichborn the first frame of that Fear, and in the global of that, my HPAL got hit for 200 quadrillion and is now probably dead. So here's an interesting thing. If they get everything they need in the most disgusting setup, it may just be bubble on the first combust. Because then you have zone for the next one. He's running fast combust, right? Always. So he's going to get combust up before you get zone up. So if you have to bubble the first one, kick the MD, stop the MD, blind the MD, grip the MD, stun it, whatever you have to do to make sure that doesn't go off. You commit bubble to the first go every time, right? And then you zone the next one since you wouldn't have had it back up. Because look at this. I Lichborn like the first frame of that Fear, and this man is 20% health. It's unbelievable. So let's see how we played this. There's so many RMPs, I don't really remember. Looks like I did go for the zone. So he gets... I couldn't tell if he bubbled. Let's take a look. It's just so wild what RMP can do this season, right? So he saps me, he resaps me, he fears me. I Lichborn insta and try and zone. So let's see. Do I save the bubble or no? No. So what should have been done? Now, this MD looks like it goes off. I go for the Gore Fiends instead of the kick on the MD because I know that I don't need to stop the MD because he's literally sitting in an 80% wall. If he died through that, it would be absurd. But for future reference, and we did learn this, it seems like HPAL should bubble first, and then you should zone the rest. The next combust, effectively. So now we're going to set up a little grip blind go, and he should be able to get over there, drop the Kyrian, and go. So that's what a good go looks like, and what do you know, we get everything out of him. So opener, terrifying, it's RMP, of course it is. But our opener, exactly the same. You'll notice I went straight to the mage, I gripped him in, the priest in once with A-Bomb's Limb, that stopped him from setting up anything else on our HPAL or warrior, any additional CC. And then I gripped him in manually, right? I gripped him in manually with my single grip, blinded them both, and of course the warrior can spear from anywhere. He can leap in there and he can get ready to go. So you can see a really good grip, blind, spear, AoE stun go, and of course it's getting trinkets and it's getting... ooh, this is a long VOD, it's hard to skip around. Don't like that. Perfect. It's getting trinkets, it's getting cooldowns, it's getting radiance charges, it's getting pressure. It is very scary. So I'm paused it right here. Hopefully you can see that on the video. I got the single target grip, the blind. I'm calling out to Rio. Hey, get over here, drop the spear, leap in, get pressure. I AoE stun on top of it. I'm sending everything. A-Bomb's Limb pillar is all already out, right? I got my pillar and my A-Bomb's Limb all already set up, so I can immediately start doing damage with this killing machine Obliterate. And here it comes. Obliterate. Maximum damage. Everything's taken so much. You saw them dip to like 20% health. The chill streak went out there. That's Trinket, Rapture, both charges. I think there's a Pain Sup in there. Really scary for them. So now it's about peeling. So good things to do would be keep chains. Just did that. Keep chains on the mage, keep chains on the rogue. Stop things. When I have kick for it, kick the mind control. Kick fireballs is really good. Stay on the mage, get pressure, chains rogue, swap back. The warrior should be safeguarding the HPAL as much as he possibly can, reflecting polys on you if he can, or just stopping damage on the HPAL. You should always have chains on as many things as you can. Of course, that costs 3 globals and 3 runes, but really don't let the priest just go wherever. Don't let the rogue go wherever. Don't let the mage go wherever. And just keep cleaving them. Keep doing single target damage. Your H-Pal can be on top of you for polys. He's on top for safeguard as well. You can see he's playing in very aggressive right now because the rogue mage don't want to stand on top of you and get cleaved to death. They want to pick the H-Pal off behind the pillar in a 3v1 while all 3 of you are CC'd. So the H-Pal coming in when he has wings up, when he has walls, and when the warrior has safeguard for him, essentially just makes the rogue panic. And he can just get extra damage on there and make sure you this priest. Because remember, living and ooming the priest is your win condition. So I'm rooted here. He can send out freedoms when he can, and he does. We can kick fireballs. We can stop mind controls with grip blind. And there's a really good go, right? Exactly what I was talking about. What did I do, right? I grip blind with no AoE stun for a pillar, drop a spear, trying to get pressure, trying to get this priest down to mana. I know they don't have trinket. They have to sit the blind while I do my setup globals, and it should hopefully stop a little bit of the pressure on my H-Pal over there. So, we stop the mind games. We get a Hodge on the priest. That stops all of their pressure. Priest almost dies here. The War Stomp, he was looking for it, but he gets a Radiance off and the Paints up, so it looks like he hadn't Paints up in the beginning. Great go there, but with no AoE stun. That's the situational call. That go is disgusting, right? But we didn't have a stun for it because we grip blind, we get the chill streak down. They're very slow classes. We had already gotten his blink. He wasn't able to blink until later. The H-Pal came in with a really clutch Hodge. That's communication, right? I'm saying I grip blind. We're setting up our globals right here. We drop our pressure down. Just make sure to come in for the Hodge because you should be okay. I kick mind games. Just a lot of really good communication and understanding. We almost got killed there, but he got a Radiance charge off and the Pain Sub keeps him alive. Now, Rio is going to safeguard him a lot. I'm going to keep chains on the Mage and hopefully the Priest to make sure they don't just walk at my guy for free. Mage is not going anywhere anytime fast. The warrior slowed the priest by hamstring. He got a bop off on that. Lasman is a lot of trouble, but again, that warrior safeguard, that's what allows this comp to play so defensive, right? We're running out of stuff there. He needed to use a dispel on mind games, but having warrior safeguard is what allows you to play against comps so just grind it out. You're just constantly hitting somebody, constantly staying alive through rotating your defensive cooldowns and ooming this priest, which you can see is very oom. Next go is going to be good for us, which I'm probably saying right now. We have AoE stun, A-bombs, limb, everything. Mage won't have trinket, the priest will. Keeping chains on the mage, keeping chains on hopefully the rogue here. Shouldn't let him get away. He got piercing howl on him. So, Rogue, you can see he's waddling there, right? You keep them slowed. There's the grip blind. Looking for the AoE stun. Chill streak on everything. Probably gets caught. Gets a half Hodge out of that. Kyrian spear comes down. I mean, this is just traditional warrior DK go, and you can just see how disgusting it is to try and heal through this. He used every cooldown, and now we're just going to grip them around. He's going to safeguard my H-Pal. Again, that safeguard, I'm going to talk about it over and over. So valuable for keeping H-Pal aggressive. And now the priest is effectively run out of mana. So we peeled enough goes. I still have zone. Combust will come back up. I've been really holding it all game. Honestly, this was probably a rough game for my zone usage since I used it on Bubble in the beginning. But there you go. I can improve too. I'm learning something from my own game, right? That said, I think I was looking for it right there, dude. I remember this game. Oh my god. I was going to say I will pre-zone this, and the priest comes up and fears me as I'm clicking. I think you can see me clicking the screen. I should have 100% zoned. Let's use this as a learning experience for both of us, for everybody watching and myself, right? Priest is Oom. They have no chance to win the game. None. He's Oom. No trinket, no cooldowns, no rapture, no paints up. They're going to rot to death. We're going to destroy them in the next go. I'm going to have Pillar in 13 seconds. They have to kill right here. It's not going to be Combust, but I'm going to get feared, and I have no Trinket, no Lichborn, no AMS. Just pre-zone it right here. That is the one time where situational awareness, I missed on it too, right? Because generally you just want to zone during Combust. Why would I zone there? There's no Combust. Look, 39 seconds, right? Because the situation calls for it. I have no way to get out of this fear. We don't know if Rio has Zerker Rage. I'm not quite sure if he has it. I haven't tracked that cooldown, right? So the only person who could save him right now would probably be me with a pre-zone. He does end up living because he's a champion by himself. Hodge is the rogue, the guy trinkets. I was looking for the zone, ended up not going for it. And then he divine favors behind a pillar as Rio gets that fear off on the mage, which puts them in a really bad spot. Now they have to retreat because Priest is like, dude, I'm that we needed to kill there, right? We needed to kill there. We didn't kill there. I'm get out of here. But that was just Lasman playing well and Rio getting a good fear. I'm going to call him the Street Fighter guy every time. Dude, he plays like one, man. He's intense. He's strong. He is physically there. But Rio getting a great fear. It's funny. Getting a great fear while the H-Pal somehow lives by himself. Again, pre-zone would have been the play there. Good learning experience for myself as well. There's the grip blind, just trying to apply pressure. Of course, he has to immediately block that. Again, like I said, they're running out of everything. We swap over to Solist, and he's dead. So a lot of good and some rough. Zones were rough from me. Slows were great. The mage almost never moved. He never connected. Chains was almost always on him. Priest with either chains or piercing howled. The rogue, generally the same way, had a lot of piercing howls on him. Good from Rio there. Mage never moved, and our goes were disgusting. So that was like a master class in TSG goes. Every single one got everything out of everybody. They were all like either 30% or trinket cloaking, trinket paints up, trinket barrier, trinket radiance. Constantly draining all their mana. They ran before dampening. A minute left to dampening. The priest is long He's got nothing left to live. He can't possibly live that go there. Communication was always good from this team, and you can see that the communication was really good. Like I would tell him if I'm doing a grip blind go, and then he would spear on that early, or I'd tell him if I had AoE stun, maybe he'd spear a little later. If they all trinket walled, then he'd still have the spear to keep him in, do damage after the wall goes down. Every go had Hodge in there. Every go had Rio's damage. Every go had my setup globals. Every go got triples or doubles with a triple after. Masterclass and how to kill people as TSG. But like I said, great learning experience, a missed zone opportunity for me in both ways. But there, I get it on the combust at the end, even though we weren't going to lose. But pretty funny. Pretty funny. So that is TSG in a nutshell, effectively. Any other games that I show you, probably going to go very similar way. Setup goes, peel, setup goes, peel. Safeguard healer, safeguard me, reflect CC, play defensive, and live. So I will try and find another comp in here real quick. I'm going to let the next game play because it's hysterical. Let's see if I can skip ahead to it. Yeah, I'm going to let this next game play because it's hysterical. And a really good look at the power of this go with Kyrian Spear, if you get it down. I'm going to try and find one more other comp, talk about it, and then call it a video. Because I think I've actually, with the pre-gameplay spiel, I think I've given all of the things that I really love about Warrior DK. What makes the go so powerful, how you live. As a recap, safeguard, rally, fear, right? Use your defensives, use your peels. Blind, set up blind goes every minute if you need to keep them off your healer. Safeguard the healer. Fear both DPS if you need to. Or grip in, get a triple on the fear afterwards. It's all situational. That's why I'm going to pause it one more time, I promise, the last time here. Before the game. Of course, I'll pause it during the game. The reason you can't have a one-to-one explanation of when this happens, do this, is because of the 50,000 situations that are occurring in every game. So that's why telling you what you have available is what I'm going to be able to do, right? Because you can fear both DPS like he did to save Lasman when I should have pre-zoned, right? And get the mage feared in Africa with no trinket. Or you can fear healer after a successful triple go right before the healer gets out of range, right? So you got the grip blind, you got the AoE stun, you got the chill streak, you're nuking them all. They have to trinket, they're trying to get out of there. Priest gets out of range of chill streak so you're not cleaving him and it won't break. But he doesn't get out of range of fear, and you get a fear on him with no trinket, and then you swap hard to the DPS, right? Two entirely different situations for fear to be used. Both totally reasonable, right? So just know your toolkit and communicate with your team. I have nothing here, I'm dead. Okay, fearing both. I have nothing here, I'm dead. Okay, rally. I have nothing here, I'm dead. Okay, blinding. Whatever you have available, communicate with your teammate. You have, again, grip, blind, AoE stun, spear and necrolords for peels, fear, rally, safeguard, chains. Use all of it and try not to use them both at the same time. A blind and a fear overlap, that's not going to be very good. What if the next go he needs one of those things and he's saying, I need something from you guys, and you're like, well, one of us would have had a 5-second stall right now if we didn't use it at the same time. Just communicate. You have a lot of different tools, and if you rotate them out, that's the grind mentality of TSG. You constantly have an answer, whether it's a peel or a safeguard or a big rally, that will stop their goes from winning the game, and they'll either go or they personally will run out of cooldowns, because you, as you can see in the bottom right corner, will do 3 times their damage. That's what Warrior DK does, right? It pounds the enemy team into submission. Sorry, that one was way longer than I thought it would be. But again, there's no way to tell you every possible situation that could occur. This is a funny game. So we get the combat, already a problem for them, right? Then I get the perfect A-bombs Lin set up. And then I grip blind both, mage trinkets before the stun. This is really funny. Right, so this was a mess from them. That was trinket before the stun from the mage. Then he combusts while we're already going. So really just a really rough game for them. But effectively, everything goes right for us. I get combat on priest and mage. I get the grip blind go immediately. I already had A-Bon limb and pillar down. He trinkets blind, AoE stun both, and we're already getting everything. That's caught out of the mage. Was looking for zone, didn't go for it. Keep chains on the mage, and they're already on the back foot. So now it's going to be just like the other RMP, and yes, you're going to queue into this a lot, so it's probably valuable to have more than one game looking at this. Keep chains on the mage. Stop everything that he casts, kick him a lot, and just constantly do damage. Lichborn every fear. Never sit one of those. There's the rally. The fear on mage and rogue. Rogue sits it. So great peels. Again, another usage of fear. That explains why that's so important, to be situationally aware. He jukes my kick. Very sad. We're still really, really, really far ahead. The mage doesn't have caught. And no trinket. So he has to send a block, I think, in next go. That's piercing howl on the rogue. Keeping mage slowed permanently. There's a spear down. We grip. And, alright, this is why this game is so funny. I don't know what happened to this RMP's brain during this game, but they just had a stroke while they were playing us. So, mage trinkets blind opener, gets immediately punished. Then the priest trinkets blind and gets immediately punished. On the blind, immediately hodged on his trinket. No idea why he would trinket that. I guess because he doesn't have caught and they were terrified. Now, pillar is out. Kyrian spear is down. We're getting Argos perfectly. I don't know why they're having so much trouble doing their job here. We're getting Argos perfectly. Grip blind, Kyrian down, trinkets the blind, full hodge, and the priest is just so screwed right here. The mage has to send block, right? The priest is using both radiance charges, and they get our H-Pals bubble because they're RMP, but they used every single defensive cooldown in the game to get it. And I still have my AoE stun coming up in 5. So really just kind of an embarrassing game for them. I'm Lichborn. Let's see. We kick fireballs. Yes. So now we should just go to peel mode. Kick fireballs. Chains mage. It's on him right here. You can see it. Chains mage. I'm probably looking at chains priest here. I don't want them to just chase him around. Yep. Chains both. Kick mage fireball. Keep them aggressive. I have trinket zone here. I elect not to use it because Rio's popped everything. And now we have wings. And now they're all screwed. AoE stun comes out, chill streak dead. Half hodge dead. Right, so that was a great hysterical game, of course. They played very poorly, but we played really well. And sometimes I play really poorly, and the enemy team plays really well, and then we get made a video of. But, and this one, again, a master class in how to do goes. We even punished them for all the mistakes they made on every single go. And I really like the ending there where they were just getting pressure anyway because they're an RMP, and RMP just gets pressure regardless, even if they do everything wrong, which they did. Unfortunate. But afterwards, right, kick fire, chains rip mage, chains priest. He went to line. Mage and priest couldn't connect. They're 70% slowed. They weren't going anywhere. Rio does a great job using his defensives and lining. Then we have wings back up, and they're completely dead. Good usage of our defensives. Good usage of that peel mentality of TSG. Bad usage of trinkets from enemy team. And that's a win. So finally, let me skip. Oh, you know what, RMP. Let me skip through the games until I get something that's not RMP. Even if it's a win or a lose, I don't care. Just anything. Oh, okay. This isn't RMP. TSG mirror matchup. With Archdruid, actually probably tough for us because they can run at our H-Pal the entire time. Because eventually he won't have freedom and they can press chains on him and chase him. But Archdruid will always have freedom. It's called shift. And we shouldn't really be able to run him into the dirt. That would not work. We would get chainsed once. The warrior would get chainsed once. And he would never be able to catch the Archdruid again. So, like I said, Archdruid maybe not super meta right now. But sometimes matchups determine whether or not something can be hard. More than just the fact that one class is better than the other. So what we should do here is probably just try and run the Archdruid out of mana. And when both players are nearing low mana, we'll have bops and bubbles and sacks, which are all immunities, but they don't have bop or bubble or sack. And maybe we can win at the end, but might actually be tough. So they get the first go on us, which is really, really bad. And then we kind of miss our go. No, we get it. So in a melee cleave versus melee cleave matchup, both of you are trying to do your go as fast as possible. Their druid has stealth and my paladin doesn't, so they get to go theirs first. We're still getting an enormous amount of pressure in ours. You can see I'm about to obliterate a warrior with 30% health with a killing machine obliterate. I don't remember this game. I don't think we win in the opener, but already getting a lot out of them. If they live this, it's probably because they parry rally. I don't know how else he would live this. But they're going to do the same to us. It's time to just press defensives and live best we can. Yep, there's parry, rally. And same from us. So, yeah. Now it's just a grind match where both teams press chains a lot and try and live. I'm going to press Death Strike pretty much every single global. Try and live. I don't want to get cleaved the entire time, but it's really hard because, again, I can't chase the Archdruid and I can't just stand there. So I'm going to press chains and try and heal through the cleave, and it's just a tough matchup for us. We get a lot of pressure in the beginning, but so did they. I'm getting my head kicked in. Did we lose? There's sack packed from me. From my pet, you can see I used that heal, and wings comes out, and it looks like we're going to be okay. But both teams got a lot out of both players. I think Rio clearly wants to go Druid here. Probably could have kicked that clone. Lasman has to bubble. I gripped the Shatter, so there's an interesting play that didn't come out in any of the other games since we were playing RMP. The second I saw my H-Pal, his health bar is low, and he's calling out, I have to bubble here, I have to bubble here. I turn away from immediately from what I'm doing, and I just go right back over to the warrior. If they shatter that, he's probably dead. Shatter, Mortal Strike on his big heal, probably dead. So just a great play there. Not hard, not tough. It's not like pressing Death Grip on somebody is a tough play, but just good to show communication between you and your teammates. He said, I'm going to bubble here. I knew that he would die if they got the shatter off. Pulled away. So then I stay on warrior for a little bit, chains him. This game is looking really rough. I think we lose. I don't know. Like I said, if we do make it toward both players being we should win because of cooldowns. But it's going to be really hard. Because again, they're just going to go on our H-Pal a lot and cleave all three of us, which just makes them do more damage than us. But you can see, I'll say what's going right for us. I'm not, right? We're dipping in and out, trying to get pressure, making the Archdruid, we're dragging him behind pillars, making the Archdruid come behind a pillar and try and re-hot, which is going to destroy his mana. We're cleaving a lot, we're swapping targets a lot, which means he has to re-hot himself, then re-hot the warrior, then re-hot the DK. which also destroys his mana. And we're dipping out so we don't get triple cleaved if we don't have a lot of pressure, and then coming back in when we do have some damage to get hots on them. Because we're going to try and win the mana race while not getting destroyed, right? If I was just standing... Look, I'm a little ways back, trying to avoid getting cleaved to death, because if I was just standing inside my H-Pal, just doing my PvE rotation, I think all three of us would be dead by now. Coming with the Death Strike. Really want to set up something on the Ardrid. Of course, he's in Africa. There's a Spear, blind both for peels, because I know we don't have a lot. We need to live until Forbearance. There's a situational usage of blind that we hadn't seen yet, right? It wasn't during a go. I literally just had to throw it out during no go at all. Because we're on Forbearance and we're all dying. So I have to press my buttons in order to give us a chance to stay alive and win the game. There's our Spear now. Of course, it's not going to be a very powerful go, but we start single targeting the warrior. He overgrowths him. And just another cooldown that we go through while the Ardruid's at half mana. Our win condition is just going to be ooming the Ardruid. It's been a mess, but I don't think that's because we've been playing bad. I think it's because this is how it should be. I honestly think we've played it pretty well. Keep chains on the warrior, as you can see here. Chains on the warrior. Stay away from him. Dipping in and out. Not standing directly on top of these guys, getting my face kicked in. Swapping around. Staying out of cleave. There's a double sharpen. I have a go. I should probably use it right here to stop this. I'm literally standing away from him, throwing a chill streak, trying to get counter pressured. That was a bad idea. I should have just AoE stunned and did a go there. That's a misplay. He's going to shatter the bop. Lasman actually jukes the warrior by going around behind him to stop the shatter, I think. Yeah, that's what happened. That's pretty wild. Great play from him. There's the fear. Breaks instantly. We're getting cleaved to death again. I throw out Pact. Running away, Ardruid, very low mana. We're winning the mana race, but living is a nightmare. Huge heal from Lasman to get my death pact off. That's what. Now you see why I love death pact so much. I would have died. The healing absorption was brutal, but I lived as a result of death pact to his wings, and then his huge heal got the death pact healing off. So it's a difference between dying and living. I mean, yes, it was brutal to heal through that healing absorption, but if I had not given him the time to get that big wings heal off, I would have died before he could have pressed it. Warriors back battle. I'm setting my A-bombs limb. Very tempting to trinket that, I'm sure. Setting up a lot of pressure here. AoE stun, chill streak. Dead. Yeah, maybe outplayed. We got him at the end with LOS on the healer, which is great for us. He was running out of mana, so he couldn't be like aggressive with pre-hotting. And yeah, he was running out of mana. He couldn't be aggressive with pre-hots. We had a lot more CR than them. Just maybe a mismatch. Because of that good play from the beginning where we were just using our defensive, staying out, not getting cleaved to death, swapping a lot, getting rehots, using defensives well, using peels well, using the blind out of nowhere to keep us alive until Forbearance, we grinded them out of mana. And then he cannot apply, what pre-hot means is apply a set of hots before you're in trouble to allow you to play aggressive. Then he got behind the pillar, but nothing's really on him, and he just gets slaughtered by OU go. The warrior should never have been battled there. I had every cooldown in the game coming back up, and his Ardruid's probably should set D, but didn't, and we punished him. So I didn't expect to show all wins, honestly, because this Q session was a lot of up and down. But those were good games from us. But I also highlighted all the things that I would have liked to have done better. So, because there was plenty. And all the things we did well. So there you go. That's TSG. In as much description as I possibly can. There is a lot of situational choices because you have so many answers to a situation. I talked about it so many times, but it's the single blind without a go that really describes what I mean by that. Blind is generally a go setter. It's generally a setup tool for doing an enormous amount of nuke. And I blinded two guys for no other reason than, hey, you need to live until Forbearance comes up. I don't think we have a lot of answers for you, and I'm dying at the same time. Blind, don't touch. And you call it out to your teammate. I'm blinding, don't touch. I'm blinding, don't touch. That's what it means to have situational decision-making, right? You have that with fear, rally, safeguard, blind, AoE stun, grip, A-bomb slim. You just find the way to make plays based on what's going on during the game. And the best way you can do that, play a lot of games. Play with the same people, get a lot of synergy, practice, and talk. I hope that helped in some way. There's so much more I'd like to talk about, but I don't even want to look at how long the video is already, and it would take another 7 hours, so. GG's. Peace.